Live stream is on.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome back. This is season 3 of The World From Here, and we're excited to be back after a few weeks off. Hey, good morning to you, Mr. Tim. Oh, you gotta unmute there.
I forgot. It's been 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks. Yeah, Mr. Tim Vasco, who's the...
I've been talking to myself for 3 weeks.
You have. Yeah, we both have. We've been waiting, chomping at the bit to talk about what's going on here lately. Lots happened in the last few weeks, Tim.
Wow, it's it's just incredible the way things go. 3 weeks ago, everybody's all pumped, and now everybody's all afraid.
That's right. It's a free fall, but I think really important. We were going to talk about some other things today, but we really had to address what's going on now, because in the past, as we've talked in the past, it's all been about speculation. Now it's about utility. It's about fundamentals. Fundamentals do matter. And you and I have seen this before. Many of us have seen it before, whether it was .com or other markets, et cetera. Real businesses come out of the ashes of times like this. And, it really does matter when you have a real business with real utility. And I know that. Just want to key that up this morning, Tim. We have a lot to show on season 3. We're going to talk, do a little less talk and more showing, which is going to be interesting in this season 3. So we look forward to your feedback, and please hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And then also at the end, we'll be taking some of your questions. So ask your questions along the way as well. So Tim.
Well, it's interesting, Dan, because the market's showing us exactly what we've been talking about for the last 2 years. And so with this season and what we're doing here, we're going to talk about coming out of the ashes. And there's a lot of ashes out there right now. There's the ashes coming out of the ashes of the pandemic, obviously. There's this big bull market that we've been seeing in both crypto and the stock market, and that now the ash is starting to tumble down. You're seeing, we've talked about the great resignation. Now it's the great layoffs, right? Yeah, so the great layoffs are here. So there's a lot of ashes out there. And interestingly, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, there have been 14 bear markets since 1947. 14.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. And some people have done extremely well during those bear markets. And it's always the fundamental players. It's always the utility-based companies, or the companies that actually excelled when they maximized ROIC. So when they maximized ROIC, they excelled. And you can look this up. ROIC is return on invested capital.
Right.
As you said before, the problem is that in crypto in particular, how do you measure a return on invested capital if your invested capital is going into something that doesn't have a utility, that's generating an ongoing revenue stream and a capital investment that's identifiable into utility, right?
Correct.
So we've always talked about fundamental value, and I've all week been getting calls. Are you worried about the crypto market? You worried about the crypto market? And I have to laugh because we're doing great. Like, actually, in this last week, we made gains. We made great gains, actually, just on our invested capital in the utility of our platform. The reason we made gains is because a lot of the currencies, the cryptocurrencies went down. We were all in fiat, and the ones we were in are going up against relative to where we're building. So our invested capital returns are actually greater than they were 3 weeks ago. I mean, I was just, it's great.
Yeah. Well, and also, Tim, the needs for utility don't go away. So like for an Amazon, where, it's running, some of our back end, for those utility companies that you have to switch on the lights to see and all the things that really matter, that still runs. People still need to buy things, stream videos.
We're actually in the digital business. And Dan, as you know, in one of the conversations we had in the last few weeks, a lot of people on, and somebody said, well, what do you think about the crypto markets? And you said, we're not crypto.
We're not crypto.
You got hammered.
We did.
Hammered. But there's this real disconnect of what is token, what is blockchain, what is utility, and what is crypto. And there's this new world. This is Web 3.0 and Business 3.0 and the DAO, really, functionally. And this new world is in the stock markets. If you started last August, or in anywhere pretty much in 2021, 2020, you've gotten hammered if you started at the wrong time, because the markets are down significantly. I'll go through really quick examples and try and plow through some charts and show everybody. If you were in crypto, you've gotten hammered, right? If you were in a token-based market where you're actually an owner of the platform, like BlockCerts, you've actually done really well. Like we've held our ground. Our token hasn't fluctuated at all. In fact, we're getting more adoption every day, more revenue and value every day, and digital's increasing. We're in the digital side of it. So you're getting the best of both worlds, right? You're getting to use this technology. You're getting to let others use this technology. If you're a token holder, those users are driving your value up, and that's not going away. That just doesn't go away, right? And that was the big magic, frankly, of an Amazon back in the .com bust. Is they had some actual fundamental value that they were selling into the marketplace, and the rest is history. Right.
So. And Tim, like I said a week ago, I said we're not crypto, and I've been arguing with people, but if you look at the root word crypto, meaning cryptography, we use technology of cryptography. So for sure, we use that. But what most people connotate as crypto is really pure speculation with no utility. And that's what the crypto market has, at least initially, kind of like .com. It was a lot of ideas and a lot of things that weren't true business models, but those that had true business models like Amazon and Google and others that are powerhouses today, they were not .com, and
that's right.
Kind of like crypto.
That's right. And it goes to what we're going to talk about this whole season here, which is what Web 3.0 is, what it isn't. What Web 0.20 faking to be Web 3.0 is. What the metaverse is, what it isn't. What crypto is, what it isn't. What tokens are and are not. What is a cryptocurrency versus what is a token, and how do those mesh? And a lot of this, understandably, is brand new knowledge. These are new business models. That's why we say it. The world from here, not the world that used to be. Like we didn't call it the world that used to be. Go get your MBA. And I got to tell everybody, I've been using this a lot in our company inside. Go look at the old FedEx commercial on YouTube. Just Google FedEx, you have an MBA. I used to start all my MBA classes, especially the fourth years that we're graduating, with that. Just go, you'll get it. And
Yeah, you showed that to us internally, and hilarious.
and it's hilarious. And it's like, okay, all you smart MBAs, let us show you then how this actually new world from here is going to work. And that's what season 3 is about. But hey, Dan, let's jump into it. Let's look at some numbers and give people some tangible stuff. Like you said, I was going to go through the platform. We'll do that next week. Platforms just keeps going and growing, and there's real utility. You can jump on it now. Download the wallet. That's your first step. Just go do that at blockcerts.com or bcert.io, either one. We'll put those links in the bottom. But let's show a little bit about what happened in the crypto market. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we just had way too many questions in the last 3 or 4 days not to talk about this today.
So here you go. Oh, I got to get rid of I think I'm covering up the chart. So let me
get your hide.
Okay, so this is your crypto market. Let me just scroll that up. From 2013, when we started, that's really when I started engaging in the crypto, in the blockchain space. And you can see 0 up all the way to this peak of $2.756 billion. Okay. And then it's kind of slipped down here. That's a 68% fall. Actually, from this point to this point is a 68% fall. Okay. That's what happened. Well, guess what? Let's talk about these guys. Here's a utility company. This utility company was called Facebook. And they started, when was this? In February, lost users for the first time in history. They changed their name in October to Meta, and look at what happened to them. They've lost $500 billion. That was as of February in their value since October. October, November, December, January, February, 5 months. That's $100 billion a month loss on average. Right. Okay. Now,
and a name change doesn't cover up basics, does it, Tim?
Well, no, and more importantly, you're looking at a company that's been around since like the mid 2000s, before the crash, before the big meltdown, that was always going up. And now look at the chart. So if you had bought Facebook or Meta back in here somewhere at $379, you're down to, roughly $400 somewhere in here. You're down half. You're down 50%, right?
Right.
So that drop between, say, October and May today is a 56% overall drop in market cap. Their market cap today, $535 billion. Before, it was just under $1 trillion, about $850 billion. Okay? And there's a point to this. So if we then go look at the other guys that just were big winners during the pandemic, Zoom, who did top $400, you can see it right there, 400 and some odd. Let's see, are you seeing my Zoom chart? Yeah, you are. Okay.
Yeah, I am. $400.58.
$400. That's down to just under $100, $93. Actually, when I opened, I think it's, let's see what it's at right now. $93. When I opened this chart this morning, it was at 99.
Wow.
Okay. So that's down to a quarter. Their market cap today, $27.85 billion. In October, it was $120 billion.
Right.
Okay. So you can see these charts. You just go find these online. It's pretty easy. So there's your Zoom chart. And then one of my favorites is Salesforce.com. CRM is their ticker. And they were up there pushing 300, 309, $310 back here. They kind of gave this bit of a rise, and they're down to, again, about half, $167, or a loss of, that works out to be about 50%, and their market cap is down by 166 billion today to roughly about 310 billion before. So in overall, those three companies have today a combined market cap, Dan, of $730 billion, whereas before it was 1,267,000,000. So about half, right? That's a 78% overall loss. I'm sorry, 73% overall loss, and the crypto market's down 68%.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, so if you think Facebook, Zoom, and Salesforce are going to go out of business, then yeah, it's going to be quite interesting in the world. But those companies likely will be either headed a little further down, will stabilize, will drive down even further, continue to run until their ROIC, return on invested capital, starts leveling out and brings them back. The crypto market, interestingly, if you look at Ethereum, for example, if you look at BlockCerts, and I'll give you the model of utility now, the financial utility. Yep. The financial model of utility really isn't in the speculation, it's in the fees that big computer, because Ethereum essentially is a big computer. Now, I'm not going to talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin didn't evolve, and we're going to talk a little bit about why Warren Buffett said what he said about why he wouldn't give you anything for Bitcoin. But the Ethereum it's actually called an EVM, or an Ethereum virtual machine. So we've got a BVM, or a BlockCerts virtual machine. And when I started developing BlockCerts years ago, 8 months after Ethereum came out, looking at code and the way they were doing it and so forth, it was all open source. So we started building out BlockCerts in a different way because we looked at utility differently. We looked at revenues differently. And I looked at timelines differently, frankly, from a business perspective, right? So when you look at that, Ethereum, actually just 2 weeks ago, when was the big Board Ape Yacht Club land grab? It was a couple weeks ago, right?
Two and a half weeks ago.
Well, the gas fees hit $460 for a transaction. That's
from
like
$63 to over $400.
That's revenue. Go ask the miners who created that or authorized those transactions how they did. Everybody looks at how the speculative market did, how the Board Ape Yacht Club guys did. They did just fine, although if they didn't liquidate into fiat, a big portion of their 300 million is down 30, 40, 50% now. But the point being, the gas miners did fine. They made a lot of money. And in fact, how much money did they make? More money in 2021 than Facebook generated in revenue. About $80 billion. I could be wrong on this. So if I am, somebody say, no, you're wrong, Tim. Your math is off. But if I recall, I read somewhere, I think Meta did, arose by any other name. Meta did, I think 68 billion, and the Ethereum network did about 80 billion. So when you look at the fundamentals of what a blockchain actually operates at, then you're seeing that there is utility. On top of that machine, you have to put something to drive user access. That's Web 3.0. That's what we've done at BlockCerts, is we built those tools for user utility that are all of those tools: Zoom, CRM, instant messaging, Meet Certain, which we're using right now. Go download your wallet and test me on this. Like literally download the Be Certain wallet and test me on this. You don't even, right now, super secret, you don't even need to buy a Be Certain token to use it. Now, in about a few weeks, you will be getting free drops, and you will be getting unauthenticated users who haven't done their ID and their encrypted, their proven who they are. Yeah. But right now it's free. I mean, go try it. Test us on this. Like I'm telling you, utility is there.
Yeah, it's free, and we're learning a lot of feedback from individuals as well. Just small little things that they're giving us, and there's a reason why we want this to be free. We want to get this out and make sure that it expands. And so tell your friends, tell others to start using it, and actually, download it and start doing some video conferences and instant messages between your friends. And the cool thing about that is it's private. You're not tracked. You're not there's nobody that's following you. It's your own private cloud.
That's right.
And that's unique.
And that's going to become more and more obvious as we get into this.
Right.
So we know a couple of things then from what I've shared here today is that these things that are happening in the market are happening everywhere. It's not just happening to crypto, number one. It's happened to every company. So that's an overall economic shift. And as the CEO of Coinbase called it, when he was called out to comment on what the heck's going on, it's he says, well, it's no bankruptcy, it's a black swan event. And not completely wrong. Like, this is certainly a black swan event in crypto because it's never, well, it did drop like this in 2017.
Yeah.
But it's a very young market. And the technology is relatively young. The functionality on that technology is relatively young. And so, yeah, I mean, you need these kinds of exchanges. You need this kind of emerging mindset that reaches beyond what we traditionally saw in, over here, you got people who make money on speculation. Over here, you got people who fill up the coffers as users, and we take all of their data and we monetize it, and then we give that money over to them. That doesn't happen in Web 3.0. At BlockCerts, it's you use it, it's your data, it's your platform, you get it all. It's like you get your cake and eat it too, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. Then the markets don't cannibalize themselves. You don't have shareholder profits competing with user interests. A perfect example, and it just blows me away that people don't see this, Dan. Oh, some people see it, I guess, but Equifax. Like, seriously, you went and scraped all my data, then you lost it, and you were making billions of dollars, and you decided for shareholder profits not to invest in scraping the data I didn't give you permission to use in the first place. And now my identity is stolen and I can't get a loan.
Right. And you've exposed me and ruined my life.
And thank you for paying whatever it was, $1.8 billion fine. Here's another one, TransUnion. This like, they've got great PR firms, I'll say that. But TransUnion, about a month ago or 2 months ago, got a second fine for violating data use. A second fine. Now look, these are companies that have our data, don't have any specific permission from us to use our data or store our data or manipulate our data. And they've been fined. And this is who the primary lending units in the world are relying on to fund your business or your life.
Yeah.
Seriously?
They hold you hostage. And when you look at the program details of how they put a credit score in place, because I watch this with our own credit scores, and it just amazes me. Like, we paid $200 off on a credit card, so it was at 0, and our FICO score dropped by 8 points.
Yep. Well, I was on calls with the top brass at one of those major two. I'm not going to tell you which one, and I'm not going to tell you who top brass, but about as top as you can get. And he was telling me, or in this conference that we were on, a few of us, was saying, well, here's what we do, blah, 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 blah. And here's how we actually create different credit scores for different institutions.
Right.
So honestly, you could have a credit score over here because one institution has this information from you, but they didn't pay enough to get that information or get it, the bespoke version of it. So you've got this other institution that has this on it. Right? It's messed up. And then for me to get it, I have to pay a monthly fee to go get my own information.
To go get my own credit score. I know.
It is a messed up model, right?
It is. Yeah.
If we put all of that, as we've done at BlockCerts, behind a public key, authenticate that, they don't know who the hell I am. They know my public key is authenticated. I take it away. I don't have to give any of that up until I'm ready.
Right. And if you refinance or you go for a business loan, and if you provide somebody with your
personal loan, buy a car, I don't care what. It's time for us to get our data back. Well, we start with our wallet. I'd like to if anybody has, I'll put 1,000 BCert tokens out right now for anybody who has a better name than a wallet, because I don't like the name wallet, but honestly, that's the challenge. Like, there's 1,000 BCert tokens on the table, and that's $1,000 right now, and or 10,000 for the utility side, right? $10,000 if you can give us a name. $10,000 worth of tokens. If you can give us a name of what's better than a wallet, because it doesn't really say it yet. I'm working on it, but community, please help out.
Yeah, wallet's like 100 years old when you think about a physical wallet. But
we've got the vault certain, we've got ID certain. You have to go through that process. So maybe it is the vault, but whatever it is, it's your data. It's your link to the tools you need that are digital, and that is the functional utility of all this, right?
Right. Yeah, and Tim, one point I want to make is just about the cryptography and just the whole market and the need for utility. And one of the things that you and I see and our company sees every day is that really even different than a year ago is that there is adoption, and companies are seeing the real need for protection, the need for eliminating risks, but also they're seeing that the new business models are allowing them to do new things that they couldn't have done in the past, like old industries like insurance, or old industries like mortgage industry, like just about any industry you can think of. If there's a new business model that allows you to do things more efficiently with less risk and with less cost, it will continue to get adoption.
That's right. And that new business model is called, or the common term for it is the DAO.
Correct.
The functional aspect. So when you go on BlockCerts, if you sign up for Work Certain, here's another little secret. You actually are creating your first DAO when you do that. Yeah. You're actually enabling your business to be a DAO. And the DAO itself now can go create these things called, DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. There's automations built into it. It's decentralized, because once you start doing that work, even if you own the instance, you can integrate with other instances and nodes around the world. All of your data is authenticated. You're proving that you live by what our mission statement is: trust, truth, and transparency. Right. And then you have to understand, well, what do I want to make transparent versus what do I want to just authenticate, like I said, behind that cryptographic public key, that there is a log behind it. And if I need to show it to you, I can, but I have the control of it.
Correct.
So each person has that, and we've baked that in directly into BlockCerts, because that was the function that blockchain was originally supposed to administer. Eliminate these middleman fee-based economy big winners. And if you look at DeFi, DeFi is another one. What was the purpose? Trading fees, like brokerage trading fees, right? That's
yep,
a
middleman.
Now, that being said, it's very complicated. And traders have a lot of knowledge and they add value, right?
Right.
So when that happens, you actually end up with this idea of who do I want to work with to walk me through some of these more complex things I don't understand. And that's got a value to it. That needs to be paid for. So,
well, and Tim, this season, you were just talking about the DAO contracts, et cetera. This season, we're going to be showing how to. So we'll show you,
exactly.
We'll show you about what a DAO means, but more importantly, how to use it, how to structure it, how to create governance for what you're trying to do. And it's pretty exciting, the things that we've been involved in that are really revolutionary in terms of people's new businesses that are cropping up in their own industries that they didn't even know were available because of the DAO.
That's right. The DAO, the NFTs, Dan,
Correct.
How NFTs can actually be utilized, and you avoid all of this fraud and fake and so forth. But you also are adding that value to your business model, to your intellectual property. It's going to shift so many things once it's used properly. So the first version of pretty much any technology is a little clunky, it's a little rough, it's a little difficult. First version, when it's in users' hands, is where the awareness comes from of how to make it more usable. We've been going through this for now 3, 4, 5 years. As we rolled out to more and more users, we learn more every single day about what blocks you from getting the value out of the BlockCerts platform that you can, from the blockchain that you can. But the reality is you don't have to be a genius. And guess what? You don't have to drive to the video store anymore, just like Blockbuster and Netflix, the other example we've been using all these years.
And you don't need a developer to use blockchain any longer, to do a DAO, to do all the functionality that is making a huge, significant change in the world, changing from 2.0 to 3.0. Although you can certainly use a developer to do something very unique, but you don't need to.
Well, not with BlockCerts. You do need to for most of the blockchains out there, Dan. Correct. And that's a really good point. I recommend decide what business you want to be in. If you want to be in your business, be in your business. If you want to be in my business and do this, give yourself tens of millions of dollars in several, 5, 6, 7 years, and you'll be there. Maybe it'll be faster for you. You're smarter than me, and the market's more evolved. But if you actually want to get into your business and use this and leverage and add the value into Web 3.0, then do that. Right. But I always tell people, if you want to get out there into the market, use us. If you want to be the next genius that comes up with a great idea and do that, go do that. Like take the raw materials, they're all out there, and use them. Maybe we're the raw material. Get your own development team. That's great. You can do that on BlockCerts too. I'll give you all the APIs. They're open. Go for it.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, there's 1,000 ways to approach this, but the mental place that you put yourself in at the very beginning, whether it be in investing in the technology or in your business, or it be the money that you're going to put aside and try and say, I want to be part of that Web 3.0, you need to understand yourself first. Like, what am I trying to accomplish here? I say that all the time. What are your needs? What are you looking for? What are your objectives? What challenges are you going to face to get there? The engineering challenges, I can tell you from personal experience, are immense. I've been doing this 18 hours a day for 5 years.
Right.
And then for 5 years before that, building out this really extensive set of tools that everybody sees today.
Yeah. And to your point, Tim, it's all about business modeling. And if you apply business modeling to the pain points of what are in a business or in a specific industry, and review the new tool sets that are available, combining those two things, quite frankly, will give you a competitive edge. It will propel you. It will eliminate a lot of the clunky things that are in most businesses.
Exactly. And so, to make a point about what that means in terms of timelines, let's look at this. I said earlier, we talk about the 14 bear markets that have happened. Starting back in 1929, there have been about 14 bear markets. These were the periods of big market downturns here. Okay. Right. Now, timelines, and one of the big things I think we saw during the last 2 years that we talked about all the time, Dan, were these blips and beeps and tweets and all the shit coin stuff that's not there anymore. Sorry about the terms, but that's what they are.
That's what they are. Yeah.
That's what they are. And that's what they're referred to on the thing. And a tweet here, chasing tweets, chasing Reddit and Discord posts, things like that. We did none of that. Like none of that. And it's about the discipline to look at what value actually is. And there is a guy who's pretty good at that. This guy here, if you've ever heard of him. Now, interestingly enough, and I just learned this.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We were talking about this yesterday. I was fascinated by this.
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett started investing at 14, and at 14, he was born 2 years after the market crash, so 1931, and 1931, and at 14, that would have put him at 1945. He's lived every one of those bear markets, right?
Right.
His net worth, if he had retired at 53, about $62 million. 53. The age of 53. So
620 million.
$620 million.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is that? 40 years of investing almost, right?
Right.
Nobody would really know who he is. Compare that to Musk or Bezos or whoever, right? That he just would have been another rich guy under $1 billion. He didn't actually become a billionaire until the age of 56. And then what happened? You just said it earlier, Dan, compound interest, compound growth. Boom. From 56, the next less than 40 years, became one of the richest men in the world. I think he's just shy of Musk and Bezos now. Right. Or maybe a bit more, depending on which day you look at the stock market. The point being, longevity is what actually drives anything. And so when, we're like the longest running startup on the planet, I think. We've operated for many, many years through many cycles. I remember 2006 was a boom in real estate and mortgage, and our COO, Robert, remembers that. And we were, knocking it out of the park. We knocked it out of the park in the healthcare industry. And then boom, 08 hits. We fell down. We got another big boost when the market started correcting and coming back. The technology just kept getting better. Right. Compounding on top of itself, all the way from 2011 to really 2015, 16, 13 to 15 was the early days of, is this blockchain thing a thing? And I definitely, obviously thought it was, and here we are today. So, these cycles happen. I've lived through a bunch of them, Dan. You've lived through a bunch of them. You've seen it over and over again. And, that's just the thing. So why does Warren Buffett say, if you offered me all the Bitcoin in the world for $25, I wouldn't take it? Well, I kind of have to say, yeah, I also do not know what Bitcoin does other than emotionally get people out, speculatively get people out of storing value that hopefully can convert into fiat currency down the road to go buy whatever you want to buy. I don't know what it does. I know this. You know, it's very limited and will continue to get harder because the cap on the 21 million coins was designed to do that. So from a store of value, there is a very hard cap on how much Bitcoin can ever be created. And that was the intent of the inventor, whoever that was, which is great. It was a proof point that you could do this in decentralized currency. That has value. It has proven to have intrinsic value driven by investors and speculation. It is very centralized in the sense that the miners that have these massive mining farms and the whales, as we hear about it now, that control it, are in control of the market fluctuations more than anything else.
Right.
So it's very much a proof point. It's not a functional aspect. When Ethereum,
and it's secure, you know, that proof point of secure,
and it's got all of those kinds of things. It's not authenticated though.
No, it's not authenticated or value.
It's got a lot of problems with that, you know, as we're seeing with sanctioned countries using it to transfer and get around sanctions, things like that. So authentication isn't there. That's why we baked that into BlockCerts, because we wanted this to be an authenticated model. Authentication doesn't mean you expose everything. In fact, it's just the opposite. It means you keep private what you can, but you're not a common thief out there or a money launderer, right? That's the, you know, and those guys can go elsewhere, right? But this kind of model was established. Ethereum came out, established a second kind of model. Now you're into this new phase of value. And I think the important thing is, hopefully what we've shared today to kick off season 3 is a broad foundation of where we go from here.
Correct.
What is it? How do you use it? How is it already live inside BlockCerts? What is that roadmap of how these business models, economic models, and personal models will change? All of that's in season 3. And, you know, just today, we wanted to set that foundation out of the ashes, because really there's a lot, just like .com, there was a lot that came out of the ashes of, prior to this, the biggest research and development of technology in the world. That's really what it was. Yeah. And this has been a giant experiment since 2013. You heard Jamie Dimon say it's a tool up and then invest heavily in it, a tool up market and invest heavily in it. And a lot of these other corporations, we invested actually through everything in to becoming virtual, decentralized. I got rid of everything. I got rid of all of the real estate and everything, went all in, and I couldn't be happier. Like, we created Web 3.0. I think we're the only Web 3.0 fully live platform on the planet right now at BlockCerts.
Yeah, we are. And I had the biggest smile on my face 2 days ago when you were presenting at a conference, an online conference, and everybody else had PowerPoints, and you were actually showing, and this was about Web 3.0, metaverse, et cetera. Everybody was talking about it, had PowerPoints, but you were actually showing what is and what how it works. Yeah. Here's what it looks like. Here's how it works. Here's what happens. This is all live. Yeah, exciting.
And you can't take a PowerPoint, a white paper, or a Web 2.0 technology that does one thing, Zoom or DocuSign or Dropbox or Salesforce, that does one thing. Salesforce is trying very hard by spending billions and billions of dollars
by buying things,
acquiring other one-off things to centralize decentralization. They're trying very hard. It won't work long term. It fundamentally will not work. The business model of yesterday will continue to be there for some time.
Right.
But it is the business model of yesterday. As long as we understand that, right?
Correct.
As long as we understand that those business models were never designed to let you have control of your data. They were never designed to monetize based on the market of users. They were designed to monetize based on the free data users put in every day and access to their own data after they get so much of it in there that they have to use it. The sticky customer. Go look it up. Every financial recommendation, business model, VC out there goes, what's your MRR? Monthly recurring revenue, and your sticky customer. How sticky are your customers? Right?
AKA seat fees.
AKA paywalls, seat fees.
Right.
You want to use it, you got to pay. If you didn't pay for 4 months, that's fine. As long as you come back and pay your 4 months and then keep paying us.
Yep. Then you can have your data back.
And you can have your data back and you can go back live again if we haven't deleted it because you were away for too long.
Right. Yep.
And GDPR made us delete it or something like that. Right. I mean, it's these kinds of things we want to bring out in season 3, this understanding of where we've come from out of the ashes into this new realization. And also all those millions and tens of millions of people now that are laid off, that are out there looking for, God, I don't want to go back to a cubicle. I don't want to go to a commute again every day. I don't want to do all that. How do you then leverage your skills, talents, and unique abilities to go take advantage of Web 3.0?
Right.
There's lots. We're in 15 countries now, I think. 15, 16 countries? 16 maybe. Right. And 5 continents. There's not a moment I can't get on. I was on 2:30 in the morning, I think. I'm on 2:30, 3, 4 in the morning every night. But I can always talk to somebody. I can always watch what's going on at BlockCerts. I can always have a conversation or help somebody out or whatever. I mean, the collaboration is cool, and we're doing it all on the platform. So if I can do it, you can.
Yeah. Well, and that's the best part of this is I wake up in the morning, I see what happened last night, and can give direction before people, check out, and all throughout the day. And before I go to bed, then everybody's starting in another part of the world, and you've got full collaboration throughout the week, over the weekend, because everywhere there's somebody working somewhere, and you can always check in, you can check out, and you can see what's happening while you're not.
I think it's the coolest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And sometimes I just sit back and pinch myself and go, wow, we did this. We pulled this off. So team, shout out. That is just amazing that what you guys are doing every day is really cool.
So, and again, we'll wrap this up, Tim. We're season 3, we're going to show you. And Alan, one of our community members that's always involved in giving us feedback, he said, show us, let us ask some questions, but let's start showing the tools that you have, because
we are going to start showing, and I hope we set a foundation for that today, Alan, and the rest of you, to show why you don't get another great Warren Buffett one: buy on fear, sell on greed.
Right.
Right? And that's why we started out season 3 today with what's happening in the world from here, out of the ashes, and what Web 3.0 is and isn't. I can't answer that in one session or 30 minutes, but we can, and we will this season.
We will. And it's something different to everyone, but it's a whole new tool set that changes the last 30 years, that is broken, that needs a change. And it's exciting to be on the leading edge of that. So, and
you're only a click away from Web 3.0. We will put the links to our sites. If, by the way, if our sites haven't caught up to what we just said today, it's because Dan and I and our marketing team are working so hard to get the content updated, because we're moving too fast on the actual deployment of all of this stuff to actually focus on telling you guys there. So we'll be telling you here, and it might be a little bit behind. Our marketing team and web team are working night and day, literally, get this caught up. but there's links there. Just go there, click, give us feedback, download the wallet, open your WorkCert account. It's free right now. Not going to be that way for very much longer. We got some cool stuff coming out.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. Well, thank you, Tim. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We're excited to be back. And we've got a lot to share and show you over the next few weeks and over this next year. So lots of exciting.
Get on board. The rocket ship's left the path.
Yeah. So Tim, you've got a saying. You gotta end this with.
I do have a saying, and I'm just thinking, should I say that or not?
Yes, we just change
it up. Like, this is a new season, and I didn't think about a new saying. So I'll use in season 1 and 2, I always said, stay safe, stay healthy, stay digital. I will come up with a new one for season 3 and the future.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate you and all that you've done. It's just amazing. I can't wait to share and show what hasn't been there, but what is there and available to everyone.
I'm super excited about it and revealing what Trustonomics means to the world from here. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Great. Thanks.